In today's video, we check out Great Yarmouth, a great British seaside resort 20 miles from Norwich on the east coast. Come with me, see what I got up to. Let's go. Hello, welcome to Through Lucy's Lens, weekly videos where I go somewhere interesting and hopefully you will find it interesting too. Spoiler alert, as a social historian, this video isn't about going to a seaside resort and ripping into shreds. This video is about visiting a new place for the first time on face value and, as always, enjoying a little bit of nostalgia. Great Yarmouth in Norfolk is a bustling seaside town on the mouth of the River Yare. 20 miles or so east of Norwich, it's been bustling with families and holidaymakers since it first became a seaside destination to take the waters for the middle classes. With the arrival of a railway station in 1844, this provided affordable travel to the resort, and it was put firmly on the map as a British holiday destination. Seaside resorts like this saw their boom time until the 1970s, when the arrival of package holidays and more reasonably priced air travel tempted some Brits to try the likes of Spain. Millions of Brits still pile into Great Yarmouth every year with its Golden Mile, entertainments, Pleasure Beach, and in 2022 there were still 7 million visitors to Great Yarmouth. That could partly be due to the travel restrictions during the coronavirus pandemic, but places like this still have their pull. The seaside holiday is in the DNA of most British people, including myself. There's just something about resorts like Great Yarmouth that aren't replicated anywhere else in the world. They pull something from your childhood and they make you happy. This was my first visit to Great Yarmouth. Being from the Midlands, we tend to pull west towards Weston-super-Mare, often called Birmingham-on-Sea, or the Welsh seaside resorts. This is due to easier road connections, but Norfolk was a place that I'd always wanted to visit, so off I went, 5 hours in stop-start traffic and plenty of tiredness breaks. This video, I'm going to show you what I got up to. It's not a comprehensive guide by all means, but it captures my feelings, impressions, and left me reflecting, would I go on that 5-hour drive again? The first place I really wanted to see was the Winter Gardens. This pleasure palace was originally built on the south coast in Torquay between 1878 and 1881. It was moved to Great Yarmouth in 1903, piece by piece. Winter gardens were built as a way to extend the holiday season during the terrible weather we get here in the winter, and it meant there was a place for people to go and enjoy themselves when it was really cold outside. This building was once magnificent and it is now a Grade 2 listed building at risk. The good news is they were given a massive lottery fund and work is being done to bring it back to its former glory, and I cannot wait to see it. I absolutely love these winter garden buildings. The next place I headed was for a stroll on Brittania Pier. There are 2 piers in Great Yarmouth, but this is the oldest. It's a Grade 2 listed structure that has been here since 1858. There have been fires, structural changes, and even a ship collision, but the pier still remains as a source of entertainment and joy. There's still a theatre at the end of the pier with a 1,300 seating capacity, and it still hosts some of the biggest names in entertainment. A stroll on the pier for me is an integral part of any seaside visit. They're loud and brash and fun, and this one is no different. At the other end of the Golden Mile is Great Yarmouth Pleasure Beach, another testament to the town's rich tourist history. It was opened in 1909 and is still the home of the Scenic Railway, one of the oldest roller coasters in the UK. It was built in 1932 and it's still operated by a human brakeman. That's a person who sits on the train, ride after ride, controlling the speed. I'm not usually a roller coaster fan, but I had to have a go for the history. And it was fantastic, apart from one drop where I really considered my life choices. Alongside the thrill rides, there are traditional seaside arcades, plenty of burgers and hot dogs, and I was full of nostalgia for this shooting range that I remember seeing in another seaside holiday of my childhood. The Pleasure Beach is no longer free to enter and walk around. It now incurs a £5 entry fee, but that gives you a couple of tokens to go on some rides. But that's not great if you just want to stroll around to soak up the atmosphere. There was something so distinctively British about the Pleasure Beach though. You could bottle it up and sell it. It's not pretending to be anything else. It's not slick or shiny, and dare I say it's a little bit run down in places. But it had a nostalgia to it, and it certainly reminded me of the millions of families that have had fun here and continue to do so today. The next place I was really excited to visit was Joyland, another smaller children's theme park on the seafront. It's the home to a heritage ride called The Snails. The Snails opened in 1949 and has been here ever since. This ride holds fond memories for millions of people, and I couldn't wait to have a go. It's a snappy little thing for its age, but I laughed and laughed all the way round, and I can see why this little ride holds such fond memories for so many people. I absolutely love model villages, and when I heard that Great Yarmouth had its very own, I couldn't resist a look. Merrivale Model Village has been here since 1961. Set in an acre of land just off the seafront, there are thousands of models depicting traditional British scenes, from caravan sites, castles, high streets to even political campaigners. It's really quirky and fun. In 2021, the street artist Banksy installed a secret model here. It was sold for £1 million, and although the original has been removed, there's still a replica still on show. I'm chuckling as I speak because I saw this while I was there, saw the graffitied stable and thought, how weird, having absolutely no idea it was once a prestigious piece of art, and thousands of people flocked to the model village to see it in its original place. There's also an amazing penny arcade attached. You don't have to pay to go into the arcade, but I absolutely love these nostalgic places. You can actually swap modern money for old pennies and have a go on all the machines. And it was a joy walking around here, and I wondered if the Charlie Chaplin installation was actually a ghost of the famous Great Yarmouth, or should I say infamous Great Yarmouth Waxworks, where it was once voted the most terrible waxworks museum in the world. Anyway, loved it here, 100% would come back. My next stop was the historic Great Yarmouth South Key. Wow! For a historian, this is the place to be. Here you can learn about the ancient fishing industry in the town, explore the narrow rows that lead to and from the quay, all with quirky descriptive names. Row 6 used to be called Body Snatchers Row between 1880 and 1910. You can visit the Elizabethan house that I've already made a full video about. There are also the ruins of a friary, ancient city walls, and there's also the Time and Tide Museum that I sadly did not have time to visit, but I will certainly be returning to go and see that. This was my favourite part of Great Yarmouth, and I was incredibly lucky that during my visit, the Galleon Andalusia was moored in the quay. The Galleon Andalusia is a replica of the ships used by Spanish explorers and traders between the 16th and 18th century. It was a fascinating and poignant reminder of the hard life on the high seas, and my God, did this ship wreck my knees. A sailor I am not. The ship is still touring several ports around Europe this summer, so you might be lucky enough to catch it yourself. This area of the town was a total surprise to me, and I was genuinely sad that I didn't have more time to explore. This area is worth a trip to Great Yarmouth in its entirety. We can tend to live in a bubble of things we know and things we think we know about places, and this area was a total surprise and joy. And speaking frankly, this is why videos that go out to bash an area based on popular reputation to get views or hype really irritate me. Great Yarmouth absolutely wasn't what I thought it was. It was a million times better. Moving away from the town of Great Yarmouth, during my visit we were actually there to see some extended family, and I was lucky enough to explore some of the surrounding areas, and I think this is where I really did fall in love with Norfolk and Suffolk. About 11 miles from Great Yarmouth is Lowersoft. This is another fishing port, and it's also the most easterly point of the UK. I fell in love with this South Beach and these beach huts. It sounds silly, but the resorts I was taken to as a child never had these beach huts. And beach huts are one of those things that I see as being quintessentially British seaside. I was flabbergasted to see them. I was so excited. I know it's just a brightly coloured shed, but I just think the theory of the beach hut having a bolt hole facing the beach where you can have all your stuff and just go and spend a Sunday afternoon watching the sea is really romantic to me, and something I can never imagine having. So walking along these beach huts was absolutely magical to me, and honestly think I left a little bit of my heart on South Beach in Lowersoft, because sign me up. It was so beautiful. The view, the sand, the peace, the horses riding over the beach. It was just a piece of magic, and it was totally what I needed to just relax and enjoy the view, take it all in. And to be honest, I am already planning a return visit to Norfolk and the north of Suffolk so I can explore more of this beautiful area, because it was just marvellous. This is Ness Point, arguably the most easterly point in the United Kingdom. I don't know what it is about my human condition, but I always want to see the extremes, the highest, the lowest, the most west, the most east. So this was a real bucket list for me. And right behind it is the big Birdseye factory with a very fetching mural to Captain Birdseye. On the journey home, I got to tick something else off my bucket list. I love lighthouses. I have been obsessed with them since I was a child. I just think they're majestic and beautiful, and this one is no exception. This is Happisburgh Lighthouse. It's the oldest working lighthouse in East Anglia, and it's the only independently run lighthouse in Great Britain. Sadly, it's only open to visitors on very specific heritage days. It was built in 1790 and was originally one of a pair. The tower is 85 feet tall and the lantern is 134 feet above sea level. This lighthouse was saved by the local community and still works today, with 3 white flashes repeated every 30 seconds, with a range of 18 miles. Absolute bucket list. Oh, I've since found out that you can stay in a cottage here, so I'm going to look into it, see how much it is. But in conclusion, Norfolk, Great Yarmouth, I am in love. I want to return, and I urge anybody who gets the chance to take a little visit and experience what I did too. Yes, you could argue that some areas of Great Yarmouth are a little bit run down, but a place is what you make of it. So just go and enjoy it for what it is. Hello, why am I in the kitchen? Why am I in my house in my kitchen? Well, because if you've got to the end of the video, you're a fan, so you'll be like, okay, there she is again. And 2, I just want to talk to you about coffee, as in buying me a coffee. I've had emails, I've had comments, can you set up a coffee? We would like to make a you know, buy you a coffee for your journeys. And I've thought really hard about it, because I implore you not to do this unless you can sit and afford to have a cup of coffee with me too. Please, under no circumstances ever buy me or any other creator a coffee or a super like or any of that stuff if it's going to put you in financial difficulty. Anyway, TED Talk over. The link is now in my description, reluctantly, if you want to do that. Yeah, and thank you for your support, because I never thought I'd be stood here saying that, and I still feel a little bit uncomfortable about it anyway. But yeah, it's there, okay? If you want it, it's there. See you later.